On everybody, what is going on? The Catch fam, I hope you guys are doing phenomenal tonight, man. Hope everyone out there has had a great Saturday. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. I hope you guys are ready for another real 2023 fantasy football tonight. We are drafting for League 4 for the Catch Fam redraft tournament. So this is going to be a 12-team full PPR draft. 2 flex spots. Other than that, everything's normal. We're excited. We've got Pete from After the Review Sports drafting with us and live with us tonight. What is going on, Pete?
I am excited to be here, John. We've been, talking. We've been doing the shorts together. You got me into this league, the tournament of doom, as I've been calling it, so politeful, where I have to flex my fantasy football knowledge. But we're ready. I don't know if you've seen Kirk Cousins' mustache. I almost carved a mustache for some inspiration here. We got the belt ready. I got championship ring ready. We're taking no prisoners. I got to step it up, even though I'm drafted in the 1.12 tonight. So it's going to be a little tough for me tonight.
I love it, dude. I love the energy. I don't think you're going to get Jefferson at the 1.12,
No
unfortunately. But yeah, man, we're excited to have you tonight. We appreciate all you've been doing for the channel, helping with the shorts and collabing with me. And happy to have you in the league tonight. And it's 10:30 p.m. Eastern time. So let's not waste any time. Let's have some fun. Let's talk some fantasy football. Let's run a real draft, not a mock draft tonight. Let's do it.
Oh, boy.
Draft has begun.
Oh, JJ, there goes my... There it goes.
Right off the board. Looks like we've got almost everyone here. So I'll monitor the draft board, guys. Make sure nothing goes crazy, but I'll give everyone the full minute and a half. But League 4, let's go. Congrats. Your draft is underway. This is the final league for the Catch Fam tournament this year. So I'm excited. It's been fun so far, and let's have another great draft tonight. So, yeah, Pete, we were talking about it before the stream. We had some good preseason action today. Little Garrett Wilson touchdown, I think, has a lot of people hype.
It was gross. I mean, A-Rod in peak A-Rod form right there. Little, I don't even know, like back shoulder fade, kind of just not open whatsoever. Easy touchdown. If they could block for my man Raj, I think the Jets are going to be pretty good. Hard Knocks is, it is, a TV show, but man, I'd be sick if I was a Packers fan right now. Aaron Rodgers looks like the best human being in the world.
Yeah, I mean, and to that point, Jordan Love's looked pretty good this preseason too.
Yeah,
to Watson today.
That's true, but that doesn't count. It's the preseason. He should be good. It's been several years. He's like what, 50? He should be good in the preseason.
So outside of that, let's see. I mean, Josh Allen was scrambling around, looked good today. You had a nice little toe tap by Calvin Ridley. It's just that time of year, man. Like, we're ready for the real stuff to start. DJ Moore looking great again. Sorry, these are all like all of your divisional opponents I'm naming here almost.
It happens. It happens. Right. I got 2 picks here.
Yeah, man, take your time. You got 3 minutes total.
This is stressful.
Yeah. Good to see everyone in the chat. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I get to throw everyone up on this screen tonight. But yeah, outside of that, Josh Jacobs. That's the big news from today. So we got Jacobs coming back to the Raiders, making things a little bit easier for fantasy. We know he is, in fact, going to be with the Raiders. So he comes back on a 1-year deal. Kind of interesting. Him and Saquon ended up basically doing the same thing, but is a 1-year deal worth up to $12 million. So see what happens there. But at least from a fantasy perspective, it is over. And I'm happy I told a lot of you guys to keep drafting him at his current value because it ended up being a good value. So now all we got left is Jonathan Taylor. But Pete, what are your thoughts on the Jacobs situation?
I mean, it felt like he was always going to come back. I thought he was going to be back. I didn't think the holdout would last into the season. He wants to get paid, especially when Saquon caved so quickly. I figured the Raiders would get something kind of close, maybe a little bit better, which it was. As he should. He was the all-pro running back last year. He led the league in rushing. He was great last year. Honestly, kept, Josh McDaniels employed, which is kind of a big deal, all things considered. So, yeah, Jonathan Taylor is the biggest question mark in the world. I was listening to Matthew Berry today, and it's like, is Jonathan Taylor going to be out for 8 weeks with the Colts? Oh, my ankle's bugging me. He doesn't even play. Or does he get traded to the Dolphins and he's averaging 5.6 yards a carry and he's a monster? So Jonathan Taylor is like a make or break draft pick, it feels like.
Yeah, and I feel like it's such a question mark now because his deal for Jacobs wasn't extremely lucrative or anything. And so now, like, if you're sorry, I'm on the clock. If you're the Colts, like, they have all the leverage. They have all the leverage in the world now. Go Pollard here. I'm trying to switch it up tonight, guys. Trying to draft players I haven't drafted this year. I was really tempted to take another player right there, but I won't say anything. Don't want to sway the draft. But Jay Edwards starting with Lamb and Wilson. I love that start.
You know what's funny? I had AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley in like every mock draft I had today.
I love that. I love that start for you too.
I mean, I don't love it, but that's just me. I don't trust Saquon Barkley or AJ. I mean, I trust AJ Brown. I ran the AJ Jalen stack last year as advised, and it was a great stack last year. But I had to draft AJ ahead of Saquon just because, F the Giants for beating the Vikings in the playoffs on principle. That paycheck, I don't get that 5th-year option with Saquon now. So I'm more comfortable with AJ being that 5th-year guy.
Yeah, it's always interesting when we run the real drafts on stream. I'm like, I don't know what to say. I don't want to sway the draft. Oh, Jonathan Taylor goes at 2-8 tonight. Okay. Heavy CMC, always going out and getting his guys. Doesn't surprise me. We got Ridley gone in the second. There goes Devonta. Devonta was the other player I was considering, but I wanted to get a running back early tonight. I really don't have a single league so far where I've drafted a running back before the 3rd. So I went with Pollard right there. But
I don't hate that pick. Lord knows what the Cowboys are going to look like.
Dude, they got Trey
on offense.
They're going to be great.
Trey the Goat Land. Me and my buddies are obviously, most of them are Cowboy fans being in the great state of Texas. And they were so mad. And they're just like, yes, Mike McCarthy, the genius, is going to get the most out of Trey Lance. Like, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean, did you ever, as a Vikings fan, did you ever feel like he was going to potentially land there?
No, that was all smoke. Our GM, first of all, I hate our GM, so no surprise there. But they're not going to waste picks on guys like that. They like Nick Mullins a lot as the backup. And honestly, Jaren Hall, not bad today against the Cardinals. They lost, but we always lose preseason games, so it wasn't the worst thing in the world. But he looked a lot better today. I think they're comfortable with their quarterback situation. And who knows what this season brings and what it looks like moving forward. Because if we don't make the playoffs, goodbye Justin Jefferson, hello Caleb Williams or Drake May next year.
You think?
That's a guarantee. We haven't signed Jefferson yet. They're leaving that open. That if we have a bad seasons, no Cousins, goodbye Jefferson, get the draft capital. This is my quarterback. This is our team now. But if we're good, I know you were talking about it last night. Cousins, 1 or 2 year cheapo extension, very reasonable, and we're looking, Super Bowl, obviously.
Yeah, Cousins is like my guy now. I've been watching quarterback. Well, I finished it, but it's hard.
Go ahead.
How do you not like him? He's like
exactly. That's exactly
cool
what I said.
It's
I said everyone is gonna feel so bad for the Kirk Cousins hate they've given over the last few years because he's like the nicest human in the world.
Yeah.
Just from what I've seen, and he in spades showed that.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Kyle's got a question here. Dare trade Chase and Njoku for Bijan and Goddard. May also add Pacheco and Singletary to get Dillon and Addison in the deal. Kyle, context definitely matters here. Need to know the full roster. You say my running backs are weak, wide receivers are strong. I mean, in essence, it's a fair trade. You get to upgrade a tight end. You get potentially the RB1. Definitely, I think somebody can be a RB5 at least. At worst, top 5. But then you're giving away a major asset in Chase, even if your wide receivers are strong. So I mean, yeah, the entire roster definitely matters here. Pacheco and Singletary to get Dillon and Addison is fair too. I mean, I like Pacheco a lot, but I'd probably rather have Dillon and Addison.
I
But
agree.
yeah, gotta have context here, Kyle. This is a big blockbuster trade. We don't, I don't want to give advice without knowing the full story. But I mean, in essence, sure, it's a fair trade. You look at the board tonight. Chase gone at the 1.2, Bijan got at the 1.3. So like those guys are neck and neck in value. But it's a big trade.
I just hate giving up a guy like Chase.
Yeah.
It's just like he'll win you some games some week. Like now, Bijan could be that guy. He's just like it's a big I don't want to say a big unknown. It's an unknown with Bijan. What he's gonna be. You don't know. I'm going crazy here. I'm going right there. We're going
I like it.
Lamar. We're going I see all these quarterbacks. We go 3 straight quarterbacks in round 3.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in any mock draft or any real draft I've seen run.
So I told Pete before the stream that I'm getting crazy tonight. I'm not drafting how I usually draft. So League 4 gets a special treat. I want to switch it up. So I'd never go quarterback this early.
I love the Hurts pick though. I mean, Hurts essentially almost won me my league, got me a bye until he, got hurt last year.
Yeah, it's a heavy quarterback draft tonight.
I mean, especially with the 4 points, you're playing standard scoring with 4 points. The rushing is just like, a godsend when you can get all those rushing touchdowns. And he led the league in rushing touchdowns. That was actually my stat tonight. Hurts had more rushing touchdowns than the Buccaneers and the Texans combined last year.
Jeez.
So free touchdowns on the ground, 6 points right there.
Yep. All right. So yeah, Kyle, definitely let us know. I mean, how do you feel about the trade is the main question I always ask people. I think in essence it's a fair trade, but it's a blockbuster trade. Okay, so you've got Lamar, Chase, Amon-Ra, Breece Hall, Madison, Njoku, Cooper, Akers, Hollywood, Pacheco, Dotson, Devontae Shane, Zeke, Singletary, Burks. I mean, so if you do
I'm more comfortable with that trade now because he could definitely use the upgrade at running back, and Amon-Ra can carry him as his dog.
Yeah, and I think Cooper's fine as a wide receiver too. And I like Dotson a lot. And then that's the next question. Is it a single flex or double flex league? If it's single flex, I'm probably okay because I also like Hollywood Brown a lot. And double flex, think you're okay. Okay, here it is. 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, 1 flex. I mean, I think you can do the trade. But you just got to understand, like, if you're giving up a player like Jamar Chase, you have to understand the consequence of it. If you see Chase finish as a wide receiver 1 this year. But I am big enough on Bijan that I think he can be the RB1 this year. So I think it's a fair trade. And I agree with Pete. I think Amon-Ra can carry you as a wide receiver 1. But man, chasing Amon-Ra is filthy. But right now you are in a spot where that flex position is like, I mean, you have Cooper, Hollywood, and Dotson. All those guys are solid flexes throughout the year. And if you do the trade, you get a huge upgrade at running back. How do you feel about it, Kyle? Let us know. I mean, I think you can go through with it if you feel good about it. I'm so happy DJ Moore was available to me. I wanted him so bad here.
Oh, boo. You're buying the Bears hype this year.
I am the Bears hype.
Yeah, at least from a fantasy perspective.
I've been on the Bears. I don't want to say I started it, but
you're running the Bears train.
Everyone who's been with the channel throughout the offseason knows I've been talking about the Bears all offseason. So I mean, I think I have DJ Moore in like now that I drafted him here, like 80% of my leagues so far this year. I do really like Watson right here. Watson is starting to become another player that I'm just the way he's been playing in preseason.
Well, they're both wide receiver 1s, and they're both going to get a heavy look at the target. They're going to get heavy targets. I don't think either team's going to be very good is the problem, but maybe that's a good thing. Well, the Bears, at least, if their defense is terrible, they're going to be throwing all day to try and catch up. Sure. I think the Packers are going to be maybe a little stagnant on offense, and their defense keeps them around, which is the last thing you want in a fantasy thing where it's like, we're dragging along. I want teams with terrible defenses, just awful defenses. So my offense has to go score.
Like the like the Vikings last year.
Last year, hey, I'll tell you what, I'm actually very high on our defense this year. I think they could be a top 15, top 20 defense. Yes. Brian Flores is a game changer with his blitz packages. Like, he will just make quarterbacks' lives miserable. And our DBs aren't terrible. Byron Murphy's a pretty good corner. Like, that's not a bad, that's a good corner one out there. It's just other stuff. I mean, I think the Vikings are actually going to be pretty good. The schedule is just tough. I think we're going to be okay, though. I think they're going to win 10 games.
I think it's a tough division, too. I mean, maybe I'm a little bit higher.
You're high on the Bears and Packers. That's what it is. Yeah. You're high on the Bears and Packers, man. Yeah. I'm not. I don't fear those teams at all.
Yeah, when I look at that division, it's a question mark to me right now. But there are a couple
it's the Lions. It's okay to say it. It's the Lions.
Well,
it's okay.
Really, you think? I don't know. I don't know if I'm quite there. I like the Lions a lot.
But I will say they have 30 years of, never winning the division. They haven't won the NFC North. The Buccaneers have won their division more recently than the Lions have won their division. So that should tell you all you need to know about the NFC North/Central there. The Lions haven't won since 92, I think, 93.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of history. That's a lot of history going against you where it's like, and they play the Vikings 2 out of the last 3. So
they're cursed. So
that whole division is cursed.
Terry asks, who would you rather have, Bijan or Pollard? Bijan for sure. Not even
close. I hate Texas. I hate mustard, but give me some Dijon all day, every day, and twice on Sunday.
Got to be Bijan. And I love Pollard, but it's got to be Bijan for sure. Emil, what's up, everyone? What's up, everyone in the chat? Cats, Pray. I see everyone. Hello.
I would Eric. Pollard injury is the only thing I was just like, I love Pollard. I've had Pollard the last 2 years as like that handcuff guy. And it's just, I don't know. I don't trust Dallas this year. I think Dallas could be in for a rude awakening of a season.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah, Mike McCarthy doesn't come off as a very good offensive guy for me. Like, I'm heavy in on the Chargers, though. Like, I think Kellen Moore and the Chargers, I love Chargers all day, speaking to Chargers. Everybody going to get drafted here.
Eric, rate my squad. Hurts, JJ, Adams, Gibbs, Hall, Watson, Deontay, Ganosi. I mean, this team is great.
That's a great team.
That's the next question. How many teams are in this league? If it's a 10-team league, it's very good. If it's an 8-team league, it's still good. It's a 12-team league, it's fantastic.
You're not. But the greatest draft ever in a 12-team league.
Yeah. I would assume it could be a 10-team league, and this is a really good draft. If it's an 8-team draft, you're still in a very good spot here. I'm going to ask, Eric, is that an 8-team format? That's what it looks like. Pray, rate this trade. Singletary, Rashad White. This is a joke because I sent this to Pray as a joke. He put Saquon on the trade block, and that's what I sent him. Let's see. Terry, rank these quarterbacks: Goff, Purdy, Love, and Jones. A good question. Fantasy wise, like I'm going to look at it from fantasy.
I would say Jones 1 from a fantasy standpoint, and then Goff 2, and then Love, then Purdy. Just because of Purdy's injury, I don't necessarily 100% know, but I like Purdy a lot. I like Goff a lot, but Daniel Jones in that running just gives you so much more. I need to go running
Purdy's
back.
the GOAT. Purdy's number 1. Just kidding. Jones, I might go. Ooh, this is close. See, I'm a little bit worried about the Lions offense. I actually am. I think the run game will be very good. I think Gibbs is going to be a factor. I think Laporta could be good. Obviously, Amon-Ra is going to do his thing. But if Amon-Ra goes down, I'm very worried about these wide receivers. And that worries me a little bit for Goff. So I think it's a little bit closer with Goff at 2 or 3 here, but I'm still going to go with the exact order that Pete said. I'm going to go Jones, Goff, Love, Purdy. And I really like Purdy. I mean, everyone knows, like, that's my guy, someone I've been a huge fan of. But just the way Love has been playing throughout the offseason.
I will say, if Purdy's healthy, he was a top 10 fantasy quarterback last year in the games he played. So if he is healthy, threw 2 touchdowns in every game. So that's a big if. And he doesn't have to do much, like a 5-yard pass to Christian McCaffrey, go for 40, and it's a tutty, or Deebo Samuel, and it's a tutty, or George Kittle, and it's a tutty. So there is like big home run potential with Purdy there that
Agreed.
he doesn't light it up in the highlight reel, but his skill position players sure do. And that's all you need in fantasy is let everybody else do the hard work for you.
Dang, I was hoping Brandon Ayuk would fall here. He's such a good value. Kirk and Ayuk in the 6th round is just like
everybody's all over Christian Kirk over here.
I mean, that's my guy.
I think I almost went there. Ridley is the big, question mark in the room. Is he that guy, or is it he hasn't played in 2 years and Christian Kirk is that guy?
I think T-Lock will support both of them just fine. Just fine. Ooh, but it's a tough pick for me, man.
What's the board looking like? I don't like any of these people on the top of the board.
Yeah, I mean, I probably need to go running back here, but I'm not going to.
Go kicker.
No way. There are a lot of players that I like right here, though. A lot of players. This is a really tough pick. Really tough pick, but yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna go for the upside. I'm gonna go Dotson here.
Okay, but I like that. I like that pick.
There are like 2 other wide receivers who I think are absolutely worth taking right here, and there are a couple running backs that I think are definitely fine in this range too. And I only have 1 running back still, but in a double flex format, I talk about it all the time. Fill those 2 flex spots with wide receiver and full PPR double flex. Fill those flex spots with wide receivers that you trust. So,
especially since running backs are a dime a dozen, and you can pick up 3 of them on the first 2 weeks of waivers, and one of them will rush for 1,000 yards.
You look at some league winners last year: Cam Akers, waiver wire; Donta Foreman, waiver wire. Latavius Murray was like a league winner last year off the waiver. So when you go hero running back, I think you really go all in. Like I don't mind a build like Speezy's where he's just going super aggressive. Like that has a ton of value in itself. We're going like double hero running back, which I mean I would say team 3 is the closest with Bijan and Gibbs. But regardless,
and Kamara and then Dobson, double hero and massive flex. Running backs, they just have to be healthy, right? I'd love to see what the numbers are on top ranked running backs and production. I'm sure it's not good.
Sanders goes off the board. I was really close to going Sanders. That's really the first time I've seen Sanders in a draft where I felt comfortable with him. But like I said, it's just now
I don't. That offense could be a real slog this season with Bryce.
Yeah,
and Sanders is good. He gets dinged up, and I don't know what his touches will look like because he didn't get a lot of touches in Philly. He was great when he got touches, but what happens if he gets a lot of touches and gets nicked up? That was my only other hesitation, but I said, you know what, screw it. I'm gonna go tight end. I'm comfortable with Goddard here.
Yeah, I like Goddard. Ryan, what's up, dude? Thank you for joining us. First redraft leagues tomorrow at 8 p.m. Yeah, man. Good luck. Glad you got to catch us live. Catch us live.
Oh.
Tommy, what's up, bro? Went Fields over Burrow in our Catch Fam redraft league. Fields to the moon. Yeah, Fields goes tonight pretty early. That's the earliest I've seen Fields at the 3-9, but I like it.
No comment.
Mix these shots says my buddy's a Lions fan. You bet 100 they win their division. I mean, it's not a bad bet. Dang, Eric says that is a 12-man league. No way, Eric.
That's crazy. I know, that's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you drafted this team, but good work. Yeah, for a 12-team format, that league is ridiculous, my guy, in the best way possible.
That goes in the Hall of Fame of drafts right there.
Yeah.
All right, Montgomery, look at you. You were on the Lions, Packers, Bears. You pretty much hate everybody. You hate all the Vikings and love everybody else. I see how it is.
Vikings.
I see how it is.
I mean, like Jefferson's not a part of anyone's draft plan except for the 1-1 or like
or the 1-2.
the
Yeah.
1-2 crossing your fingers. I think maybe once this offseason he came at the 1-3 in a mock. Like someone went like Chase, Bijan or Bijan Chase. Other than that, I've never seen him. And let's see, Madison in the 5th. Like I think Madison's gonna have an okay year.
I don't trust the Vikings running attack whatsoever.
I don't think he's
me.
gonna be like, I don't think his ceiling's gonna be high enough. And I think the weeks where he's going to be the most valuable, like obviously, or weeks he scores touchdowns. And I just don't know how often it's gonna be. But I think he's okay. It's just like I wouldn't take him in the 5th round. And Anthony is a Vikings fan, by the way, so doesn't surprise me. You've got one in here.
I don't know why he's going in with them. I mean, our interior offensive line is he's so bad. Our interior offensive line is the only problem. We have great tackles though, so if we're gonna run outside zone, that's how it's gonna help. I know people talked about, what's the difference between Cook and Madison, and Cook is that home run hitter. Like Cook will go Barry Sanders 0, -1, 40. I feel like Madison's going to be like 4 yards, 7. Oh, he busts out a 15-yarder. So it's going to be a lot of small chunks, hopefully.
Yeah, you mean you're hoping that he falls into the end zone ultimately.
We do run the ball in the red zone a lot, which is what you kind of have to do when teams expect you to pass in the red zone, run at them.
Yeah.
And everyone expects us to pass in the red zone for good reason. I mean, I'd be petrified if Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson is a monster too. And Jordan Addison, man, is he's been lighting up camp.
Let's talk a little Jordan Addison. How do you feel about him?
I think I hated the pick when we made it because we need defensive help. But good Lord, man, he has been great. Cousins has very good chemistry with him from what I've seen. His route running is fantastic. He's not the fastest guy, but we have 2 elite route runners with him and Jefferson. Footwork's good. I think if he's getting one-on-one looks as the 3rd receiver, like teams are in real trouble. Honestly, the 4th option with Hawkinson and KJ Wright. I'm a big KJ, stan over here. So I think Addison is here he's going to be the odd man out on the defense, and he's going to get soft coverages, easy looks, and Kirk Cousins quick hot routes right to him, and he's going to get a lot of balls thrown his way.
Yeah.
Which, hey man, I'm about it. I am about it. Speaking of Jordan Addison, let's just go. Let's just go.
I was wondering.
We talked here. I desperately need a running back here, and honestly,
I like Addison in the 7th round.
I'm okay with Cook here too. I'm a big Cook guy here.
I think Cook was a good pick for you for sure. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Addison going into the year. I just think kind of the perfect wide receiver 2 to JJ. He kind of landed in the perfect spot. So he can definitely be productive. And Kevin O'Connell's going to want to throw the football. So I think everything's there for him.
Not only that, he schemes guys open, which I have to say I love. Like he is definitely as sold on how good he is as a schemer. Because that was kind of a big question. Can he call plays? Like we know the Rams scheme. And I think he kind of proved he was the passing game guru because the Rams were awful last year without, him, and Stafford was still bad without Kupp. And, the Vikings were one of the best passing attacks in football.
Yeah, I've become a big O'Connell fan. So
me too. We're in an awkward situation where I think our GM is bad and our head coach is really good. So it's going to be really awkward. It's like, our coach is good. We win games. Are we maximizing that with not a great GM? Because I don't think our GM's very good.
All right. Jim says, I have Saquon, Pollard, DK London. Should I go for a DAC stack with Pollard, or should I go with a different lower tier quarterback? Lawrence and the rest with higher ADPs have been drafted. Yeah, you see how far Dak or Deshaun Watson falls to you. And if they don't come to you at a value that you're comfortable with, you just drop into the true late round quarterback like Geno, Daniel Jones, that area quarterbacks. But yeah, Dak's going to be perfectly fine. The only question mark with Dak is like, is he going to be healthy the whole year? You know, he was in 2021. He wasn't last year, but when he's healthy, he's fine. So Dak is perfectly fine. Tua, another guy in that range I like. Cousins is fine, but
I really like Tua if he's healthy. I mean, that offense was explosive with him.
That's the big question mark with that range right there. Is like Tua and Dak are really good values, but then the health comes into to play as well. But yeah, if you're dropping to that tier, that's perfectly fine. And in a 14 teamer, and you might find that there's more value if you're just going for pure skill position players. So kind of up to you.
I'm just worried. I mean, the picks, right? Isn't that the big question mark?
Yeah, but whatever. He did throw a lot of picks last year, but when you go back and look at most of those games from a fantasy perspective, they weren't that bad other than like, I mean, let's see here. And that stretch between week 7 and week 8 or 18, when he came back, he threw a pick, at least one pick in every game but one. And he had 15 or less fantasy points 3 times, which is not great, but he still had, 17 or more fantasy points for most of those games. So just kind of miraculous. But the picks were definitely bad last year. I mean, if he played a full season, he could have
Could have had a 30 and 30. We're talking Jameis Winston 30 and 30.
It could have been close, but yeah, I mean, I think the Cowboys offense will be okay this year. I mean, I do think, you made a good point earlier. Like it's going to be different, and Mike McCarthy versus Kellen Moore is very different, but we'll see. It could be bad, could be good, could be in the middle. And ultimately, there's enough playmakers on this team for Dak between, I mean, really, I'm just high on CeeDee Lamb and Pollard. So I'm not crazy high about Cooks or Gallup returning or anything like that, but we'll see. All right.
I don't know.
10-team second pick Dynasty. Cousins, JJ Hill, Pollard, Eckler, Goddard, Connor Kirk. Other QBs are Darnold and Shroud. Should make a move at quarterback. Super flex. Yes, he should. Yes. Wait. Is there super flex? There's no quarterback in your super flex. It's not Kirk Cousins. That's Christian Kirk. Am I reading that right? Oh yeah, because you have Kirk Cousins as your primary quarterback. Yeah, I mean, you got to keep Stroud, because if he works out, like, you need that long term. Is that Sam Darnold? Donald's?
So I'm assuming it's Sam, the man.
That's what I'm assuming as well. Let us know. But yes, you need to make a move for quarterback. I mean, if you don't, you're in pure win now mode. And like, honestly, like, if that's Christian Kirk in that flex, then I mean, that can be a thing that you can win with, but you got to have long term, man. You got to have a quarterback. I mean, Stroud is hopefully that guy for you.
That's a good flyer. Yeah, I mean, that's a good flyer.
And he could even come on in his rookie season where he's at least giving you enough of an average to where you can put him in the super flex and be competitive. I mean, the rest of the team looks good. I mean, JJ Hill, Pollard, Eckler, Goddard, Connor, and I think it's Christian Kirk. Like, that's a great starting lineup, but you want a quarterback in that super flex spot. And yeah, let me just see. It is Sam Darnold. Okay. I mean, Darnold's fine to have on your roster. You still want players like that on your bench and everything, but then the question is, who are you going to trade? Because I mean, you have some big name players. I mean, I hate to say it because I really like him, but I think the best player to trade is Pollard, because he's younger than Eckler. He's in a situation where he could be on a different team next year. And it's just, I keep trying to tell you guys, in Dynasty, when it comes to decisions like this, you got to sacrifice the running back position, because there's going to just be so many more players who are easily attainable that are relevant quicker. They might not bring you the same ceiling as Pollard or Eckler, but it's just the nature of the NFL right now. In Dynasty, quarterbacks, wide receivers are what you need to hold on to. They're just way more difficult to get those cornerstone pieces. So Pollard, if you're trying to get a starting quarterback, I mean, you're going to have to put out a pretty hefty price as is. So I think I might consider moving Pollard. But man, I don't know. Zaw, the other thing here is like if you just keep this roster and you super flex Stroud or even Christian Kirk, you still have a shot here. It's just if you're thinking long term, yeah, you need to get another quarterback. Josh, you do any paid leagues? Yes, for YouTube members only. We have a super flex league that's still open and one spot in the auction league, but they are reserved for YouTube members. But just be sure to join our Discord. Links in the description down below. If those spots do become available and up for grabs, like, I don't know, I'm probably going to use like a random spinner wheel or something. I'll let you guys know because right now there's a couple spots and they might not get filled. All the Dynasty leagues were paid for. Those are long gone and filled. And the tournament we're drafting for right now is always free because I like to have a free option for everybody. Would you trade Najee for Gibbs? Probably, Nick, if it's full PPR. Eric, you're welcome. Emil, 34 people watching. Hit the like for the catch, fam. Appreciate you, Emil. Jeezy, what's up, bro? In a 3 wide receiver PPR format, do you see a flaw in going aggressive at wide receiver and just locking up 2 backfields at running back like Gibbs, Monty, and Javonte Pirine, for example? No. Go in at wide receiver. But yeah, you still want to at least go hero running back, so get Gibbs early. Jerry, what's up, bro? New co-host. There we go. It says Steven grew up a lot since the last time we saw him.
Steven getting clowned.
We've got Pete joining us. He's drafting from the 1.12 tonight.
I hated my last 2 picks, by the way.
I mean, I think Juju's okay considering his full PPR. Like he's gonna be the wide receiver 1,
I almost went Burks there, but I think Tennessee might completely implode upon themselves into a black hole of nothingness. Pirine is interesting because I did a little too much reading today. Sean Payton was talking about how he got Pirine to come there because he goes, look at me in New Orleans. Like I had 2 backs get 115 carries each of my last 3 seasons in New Orleans. So it's like, all right, maybe Pirine is going to split time with Javonte, and he is coming off the knee, so maybe he gets some...
Well, I think he wants to definitely utilize him as a pass-catching running back. So I think it's fair. I mean, that's what he's done historically. You're right.
Are we going to trust? Yeah, but are we going to trust Let's Ride is the question. Broncos country riding this year is the real question.
Damn, everyone getting on Steven tonight.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything.
No, that always happens. Jared
funny.
says, I know a guy took Mahomes the 2nd round. What do you think of that? I didn't mind it at all, Jerry. That guy was you. By the way, happy birthday, Jerry. I think it's like a day late now, but happy birthday. Jay Edwards, what's up, bro? Finally got some good signal. Let's go. Hope you're doing fantastic. We appreciate you.
It's good to hear.
Carlo was good, my guy. Brandon's in the house. Oh, I hate when this happens. Sorry, like it's displaying the top of the chat for some reason.
Oh yeah, I hate that. You gotta love
by the way, I pinned Pete's channel in the chat for you guys, so make sure you guys go drop Pete a subscribe. Is that
it's terrible? It's terrible. Don't go. The content is awful. No, I'm just kidding.
Pete's been a long time friend of the channel, and we have started to collab this past year as well on some of the shorts, which you guys have seen. So make sure you guys go sub to Pete's channel. He's a good friend of the channel and everything. So
one of my, like I said, I think I was like at 80 subscribers when you first commented, and I think you guys were at like 800.
Yeah.
When we first met, which is kind of crazy to look at where we are now, both of us.
A long time ago, man.
I know, like almost 2 years now, it feels like. Or
yeah.
Not quite 2 years. I think 2 years in November since I started actually caring about my YouTube content. But yeah, I do regular sports stuff, guys, like news and updates and Monday Night Football live streams. So little
He does the sports.
different. Yeah, not strictly a fantasy guy. I go here for all my fantasy info, so don't listen to anything I say right now.
Jim, Mike Williams or Mike Evans? Oh, I'm gonna go Mike Williams. Pete touched on it earlier. Kellen Moore is the offensive coordinator. He's gonna open up things for these wide receivers. Last year, Mike Williams
I
was
love both these guys. Like,
sure.
I got a soft spot for both my Mikes, but Mike Williams,
Yeah.
yes.
He was good last year when he was healthy. He just was banged up. Keenan Allen was banged up. Justin Herbert was banged up. The play calling was awful. Unless you owned Austin Eckler in fantasy, then it was kind of nice. But ultimately, man, I just go Mike Williams here. There's just more upside. When you look at Herbert versus Baker, and I do think Mike Evans is
Trask.
Or Trask. I think Evans is a pretty good value where he's going. He's still going to be the red zone guy, and I think. I talked about Godwin recently too. I really like Godwin in full PPR. Like those targets are going to be there, and the Bucks are going to be playing from behind. But man, if it's between these two guys, I'm still going Mike Williams. And it's disrespect. We disrespect Mike Evans every year. Actually, I've really been vocal about not disrespecting Mike Evans every year until this year. So,
he'll probably get you 1,000 on the season, and 6 to 10 touchdowns. Depending, but yeah, I'm big Mike Williams guy. I ran the Mike Williams Eckler stack in the league I won, my big money league. So that was in a half PPR. That was a death combo with Eckler.
Yeah.
And Mike Williams when he was healthy. Yeah. All right. What about this one? Lamar Herbert, 6-point touchdown format.
This is a good question. I probably go Lamar. The biggest question here is like, how healthy is Lamar going to be this year? I'm a guy who's been burnt by Lamar Jackson frequently in fantasy. Like I've only had him the years he's gotten hurt, but ultimately, Todd Monken as an offensive coordinator is going to open things up. You're going to have a completely different group of pass catchers. Bateman, I love Zay Flowers. Odell is not complete dust. He's in a good position where he can't be the wide receiver one, but with Flowers and a healthy Bateman and then Andrews as a pass catcher, Dobbins healthy, hopefully the defense is going to be fantastic. And I can definitely see Herbert finishing in front of Lamar, but Lamar still has the rushing upside. He's well rested. I'm going to go Lamar by a hair.
That's a stat that doesn't get talked about enough, is like quarterback rushing stats that have kind of taken over the last few seasons. So I like Herbert. I think Herbert is a dog, not a social media quarterback, but I think Lamar's running. I'm a huge fan of the Todd. I don't think their defense is going to be as good as people think it's going to be, possibly.
Really?
And they might have to score some points, which I think they're going to be able to do. Lamar's not a bad thrower of the football. Like that's a bad misnomer about Lamar. He has a relatively good arm, not the most accurate guy, but again, he might have some wide receivers that get some dang separation that he can throw to. I'm a big fan of, Flowers. I think he's a stud. So if he's the receiver 2 and then Beckham's the receiver 3 and Andrews is your number 1 option, like 4th option is OBJ, he's going to get open. It's kind of the same thing we talked about with Addison and the Vikings.
Sure. Yeah, it's a hair, but I'll go Lamar.
I don't think you can go wrong with either. It's a winning proposition, both those guys.
Yeah. Marco, I'll go through each team at the end. But at the top of my head, yeah, your floor is good. Big question for you right now is who's going to fill that second flex? Probably Evans. Man, I just wish you didn't. I wish you gave me Brandon Ayuk in the 6. If I hit Ayuk there, I would be. I really like this draft. Actually, it's definitely different from what I usually do. But if I hit Ayuk there, would have just that would have been ridiculous for me. I almost went Ayuk over Drake London. I mean, that's how much I like him.
Oof.
But I'm good with this start either way. Kickers are going. We got Tucker in the 10th. We got Money Mac in the 11th. Speezy also went Richardson in the 7th. This has been an interesting draft. Doug, get out of here, bro. There's your neck crack. Okay. So, wow, these drafts go by like so much faster when I have someone on stream with me. Like I look down,
Yes.
we're at the end of the draft.
All right, I'm gonna do that, even though I hate this team with a passion. And just in case.
Nice.
Just in case. I almost went Thielen. Thielen was sitting there, and I was tempted to go Thielen.
I like it.
But, I think I need coverage for Lamar if in case he gets hurt and Cousins is. Yeah, my season is not over if Lamar goes down.
Like I said, every year I draft Lamar, he gets hurt, so I'm avoiding him for everyone else's sake. But I think it's you have certain quarterbacks you always want to kind of go and get a security blanket around, and I think that's smart. So, anyways, I'm trying to decide what I'm going to do next here.
Kicker.
I usually don't draft.
I know no kicker, one defense or no defense.
Oh no, I'm just saying I usually don't draft 5. I have drafted more running backs than usual. But I wanted to have a team where I had more depth at running back because all my teams are like super heavy at wide receiver. I love Sky Moore in the 11th. I was really surprised he came to me at the 11th. He's usually far gone by now. But I love it's risky, but I love the potential upside there.
I mean, somebody's got to catch the ball in Kansas City.
Right.
Why not him?
I will admit I am kind of screwed at tight end. When Cole Kmet went in the 11th, I was like, oh crap.
I was surprised you passed on Freiermuth.
Yeah, retrospectively,
yeah, you went McKinnon.
I'm very surprised I did that too. And I like McKinnon there, but Freiermuth would have been a better pick for sure. So yeah, I'm surprised by myself. And I definitely meant to draft a decent tight end tonight. Smokey, what's up, bro? Yeah, man. Those of you guys who got Jacobs early on at better value, congrats. Okay, I actually have no idea who I'm about to draft right here. Good to see you, Smokey. What's up, Spence? Hi, you jerk. Man, I don't know who to draft here. Okay, I got a full minute. I always forget. Man, remember when Greg Dulcich was going to be a thing?
Yes, and he was never a thing ever.
Now he's like the tight end 2.
No, he had that one touchdown catch for that in that one game where he won people fantasy leagues because they knew he was going to catch that touchdown on Monday night.
Man,
I don't hate. Yeah, I'm not going to influence you here. I'm not going to influence you. I don't hate some of those tight ends.
I'm going to go Higbee, but I just think he's the best option. I mean, he's your before he got hurt last year, he was great. I mean, he was tight end 6 last year. The big question with him is like, is Stafford actually going to be healthy?
Mm-hmm. I like Everett. I don't hate Laporta. Apparently, Jared Goff only throws to Laporta if he's not throwing to Amon-Ra. So,
well, I'm still tempted to get a wide receiver right now because, see, like right now my build is 1 QB, 1 tight end, 5 running backs, 5 wide receivers, and I usually have at least 6 wide receivers. But right now I'm contemplating, do I go like all the wide receivers available? I think like there are definitely some names who could have fantastic seasons at this value. And then there are a lot of guys who could end up on the waiver wire, or just be kind of, nah, they're fine. They're riding the bench. So I'm kind of in between. Do I grab a second tight end, which I don't like love, or do I just take a wide receiver? Or do I forfeit a kicker and I get a tight end and a wide receiver? I'll figure it out. Why did Jahan Dotson go so early in that draft? Should I be drafting him above ADP? I mean, I think what it is at the end of the day is it's actual draft season, and you're going to see players go way against normal ADP. Like Fields in the 3rd tonight. Trying to look at, JT in the 2nd round at 2.8, Joe Mixon at the 2.12. Like, people are just going to go out and get players that they like. And Dotson's been lighting it up in preseason. McLaurin is probably going to be just fine, but he has the turf toe and everything. Sam Howell's looked good. Dotson had a really good rookie season too. So, Flowers even went in the 6th round. Like, that's a little bit early for ADP. Richardson went in the 7th. So yeah, at the end of the day, you have to draft against ADP to get the players you want. So, Smokey, I did get your league dues. Thank you. All right, into the 13th we go. What's going on, man? Need a bit of help in a small league with my lifelong buddies. And if you had to pick 2 of Cup, Tyreek, or Bijan, what would you do? Tyreek and Bijan, no question for me. And I love Cup.
Yeah, that's an easy one. Who knows? Cup's career could be like over. I know people don't love saying that, but he's old.
It's true.
And he's coming off a knee injury.
It's just like, it's such a, like, I don't think there's any in between, has never scored less than 16 fantasy points in full PPR when him and Stafford are healthy, and is coming off a knee injury and has a hamstring injury, and it could be derailing to his entire career. I don't think there's anything in between. It's either like he's right back to true form, or we see a really disappointing season. And there's a little bit of risk there. I think with Tyreek, wide receiver 2 last year, same exact situation. He's going to be just fine. The upside's there.
Cup is 30. Like, holy crap. Like, these guys, he's kind of like Thielen. They get old really fast, really quick on you because he played forever in college. So,
and I'm not out on Cup. Like, Cup went at the 1.8 tonight. Like, I think it's okay still.
I think that's good value.
If you have the option, go Tyreek. And Bijan for me, it's not even close. Yeah. If I'm picking,
what's Bijan's floor if he's healthy? Like RB4, maybe if he's healthy all season.
I think worst case scenario RB5 or 6. But I've been very high on Bijan. Like, that's one of the hype trains I've been on all off season long. So I'm not coming off it. I'm higher than some people, but there are a lot of people out there just as high or higher than I am on Bijan. So, Tyreek and Bijan would be an incredible start.
I think sometimes we overthink these things. Like, they drafted Bijan super high for Bijan to get all the touches. Now, Arthur Smith could go, off the wall here and give Algier 1,000-yard rusher last season, a good chunk of carries, but I think he wants a Derrick Henry bell cow, and that's what he drafted Bijan Robinson to be. So I think that's a safe pick here.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, like, people will point to like the Falcons offense. It looks bad. Well, I asked this question on stream the other night when the Giants drafted Saquon. Like, can anyone name 2 players on that offense? And actually, there were some pretty good players on that offense that year, but like no one even remembers. And they were they won 5 games that year.
Was that the Geno Smith, Eli Manning replacement year or whatever nonsense happened there?
It was actually. Yeah. But he did have Odell and Evan Engram, and Shepard was good back then before he got hurt 7 times. But the point is, like, no one remembers that offense for being like a good offense when they drafted Saquon. They remember that offense for drafting Saquon. He was the RB1. So,
is Desmond Ridder really a downgrade from Marcus Mariota last year?
No.
I don't think so. Like, Ritter's not good, but he's not a downgrade. And the offense was just fine the first 10 weeks of the season. Their defense was terrible.
Sure.
Which hurts you if you're going to run the football, but I don't think Arthur Smith cares. He just runs the football. And we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out, boys. We're just going to run the ball and figure it out.
And I do think that offense is actually, the passing game is going to be better than it was last year. Because if you remember, Mariota came in pretty late. Ritter's had, a little bit of experience last year, but he's got time to settle in, at least learn the offense. And I think Drake London, Kyle Pitts healthy.
I like both those guys. So.
Yeah,
it can't be worse, right?
Right.
It can't be any worse, the passing game.
I'm not like
both dudes.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be like, I think the Bears will take a step forward, for example. I don't think they're going to be like how the Jets might look this year potentially or anything, or like how the Eagles looked last year by any means. Not that type of jump, not even like a Jaguars type jump that we saw last year, but they're going to be better. And I think that's pretty
Well,
fair to say.
and it doesn't hurt that their division is bad. Like, it's flat
Sure.
out bad. They don't play
That's
good quarterbacks. They're not probably going to be trailing too much in division games. A couple of them defenses aren't too bad. Like, Carolina's defense is legit good, and Tampa Bay's
sure.
defense
They're
is
like,
so. Who knows? Does
yeah,
anybody know what Tampa Bay is going to look like this year? Because I
yeah,
don't.
exactly. They could be good.
Vegas loves the Falcons in that division. They love the Falcons to win that division. The
Oh, really?
sharps are all over the Falcons. They're all betting the over. They're all betting the Falcons to win that division,
Huh.
which I'm surprised. I would lean the Saints just
I'm
based on
still leaning Saints.
the
Yeah.
quarterbacks they play. But I
And I
don't think
love,
people like
I
Dennis
mean,
Allen.
Olave, Rashid Shaheed, Michael Thomas, if he's alive, good
Oh,
tight end.
Slant Boy's back. Slant Boy is back.
He's alive, I
I
think.
hate Michael Thomas with passion.
I'm not very high on him either, but if he is healthy, he is a factor. But yeah, good tight ends, Jawan Johnson, Taysom Hill, good defense too. I mean, the defense was disappointing last year, but they should be okay. And like they're playing Bryce Young,
No.
Baker Mayfield, Kyle Trask, and Desmond Ritter. So,
Yeah, bad quarterbacks. And
yeah.
did he just sniped my kicker? I'm so mad right now.
Oh, you wanted the
Uh,
Bucker.
of course, I always go Butker, but we can go Jake the Snake. He's
Nice.
kind of a dog too. I definitely, speaking of handcuffs, we're gonna go
Yeah, I
there.
like that pick. I think that's a great value on Ozier right there. And he could see standalone value even with a healthy Bijan. So Smokey says in my home league, Mahomes went 1.7. That doesn't surprise me. That's gonna happen in home leagues for sure.
He's gonna go like 1-2 in mine. If there's one guy who has him 1-1 right now, if he gets the first pick in my family league. So
Bijan
I'm
at the
okay with it.
you got Bijan at the 12th pick is just ridiculous.
Painful.
And a redraft format is like you should be so happy, Smokey. I'm happy for you. Tommy went Bijan at the 112 and Dynasty. Did you went Bijan Garrett Wilson, right? I mean,
That's so good in the Dynasty.
yeah. Like obviously you want a quarterback in the first, but when you're at the 112, it's like, what are you gonna do? So Doug, Victor Cruz, yeah, Victor Cruz was good. I don't know if he was on that 2015 team, but regardless,
Forgot the salsa.
the salsa. That's right. I was just like imagining that in my head.
So that's like a guy, like everyone talks about. Have you seen that meme where it's like guys just sit around and name old sports players and they can have the
Yeah.
best time of their life? It's like
Oh, yeah.
Victor Cruz was a dude when he
Sure.
played, and no one's gonna like. Is anybody really gonna ever remember Victor Cruz in the annals of football history? No, but when he played, he
Yeah.
was a problem.
It is crazy how many like good players there are over time who like aren't Hall of Fame level, had a short career, but like, you know, if you're into fantasy, if you're into just playing Madden, if you just watch football religiously, like you remember those players so much more vividly. So yeah, definitely
The
understand it.
Hall, what is it? The Hall of Very Good.
Yeah, that's
I'm trying to
we all have one, right?
like
All right, so
Cordell Patterson's gonna be that guy.
yeah, Cordero Patty and Cheese. That's what we call him
Yeah,
at the channel.
just all day kick return, running back, wide receiver. Wait, this guy switched to running back like 8 years into his NFL career and
Yeah.
was good.
I mean, he was a league winner 2 years ago.
100% he was.
Yeah.
Was just.
So
I love that. I love that draft pick when Minnesota took him. I was like, oh my god, this guy's gonna be a game changer.
I forfeit kicker here or defense. I haven't decided. I get a second tight end in Luke Musgrave. I was actually hoping Laporta would fall, so I blame you for hyping him up.
He didn't. He went right after I talked about it, and then then you talked up Dolchich, and he went right there too.
That's true. Okay, I'm probably gonna forfeit kicker and go defense.
I do like Musgrave from what I've read. I think that's not a terrible pick. Tight end is such a weird spot. It feels like if you're not getting Kelsey or a tier 2 guy, it's whatever. It really is just a total roulette roll of the dice if they're going to be good or not. I like the Seahawks. That's a good pick.
I
That's a
love the
good
Hawks
pick.
defense this year. They're going to be. I mean, they were good last year, and they're going to be better this year.
They force so many turnovers. Many turnovers.
They got a steal at corner last year, and they go out and they got a top 5 corner this year as well. Devin Witherspoon. So it's like, I mean, the Russell Wilson trade just.
And they're going to score more, so I think teams are going to have to throw against them in that pass rush.
Sure.
Because I think that Geno and the offense are going to be pretty good with the. I wouldn't trust any of those running backs because I literally text my buddy who works for them and says, yeah, they love all 4 of them, and they will like Kenneth Walker is the leader, but Pete is rotating them like he doesn't care. Like they are playing all those running backs, no business. But
that's what Pete
the wide
does.
yeah, Pete doesn't care. But the wide receivers, like that's JSN is your 3rd receiver or 2nd, and Tyler Lockett's your 3rd. That's
and Noah Fant can play tight end,
No, I don't hate Noah Fant whatsoever. I liked him a lot more.
I actually think
in Denver.
They could. I think they're a sleeper to win that division. Actually,
I agree. I like that too. Their schedule. I have to look at their schedule, but the second place schedule, helps a lot. I don't know what division they're playing, and I got Mr. Irrelevant here.
Pete with the final pick.
And
then we're done. Can you guys believe?
Done.
Congrats, League 4. Just over an hour. And we'll go through each team here. But Pete has.
All right. Yeah, I know. A minute left.
There's a player available that I like.
Yeah, he's right here. He's right there.
Oh, okay. I like that pick too. I thought going wide receiver was important for you, but running back would have been okay too, obviously.
Yeah. I had to go wide receiver or tight end there.
I like Zay Jones right there.
I like the Jags offense.
Yeah. I like Jacoby Myers.
Yeah. I just don't trust Vegas
There's
whatsoever this year.
This was a very light wide receiver draft for a full PPR double flex.
Yeah.
There's enough wide receivers on the waiver right now that if you're struggling at the position, there's going to be some guys who I think will be relevant. But
KJ, Alec Pierce, Gallup's not terrible. Nico Collins in Houston, I like too. I like a lot of these guys on the waiver wire, which is good. Someone's going to get hurt. Let's rate squads.
So
it should be judgy.
Congrats, League 4. There's your draft, ladies and gents. Let's do some team reviews. All right. Richard is my first subscriber. No, my second subscriber.
Okay. I like that. That's a ride or die right there.
Made for TV is our first subscriber. Richard is our second. A1 day one. All right. What's up, Rich? Tua and Purdy. I like that. I'm fine with that. And Njoku, you're good there. Mixon, you're high on Mixon this year. Mixon, Pierce, Bigsby, Warren. Okay. JJ Olave, Lockett, Flowers, Deontay, Dobbs. I love your wide receivers. I think you got really good value throughout the whole draft at the position. Jags defense and McManus, you're fine there. I'd say the only issue I have with this team is if Mixon or Pierce go down, you're immediately relying on handcuffs, and handcuffs are good to have in redraft formats. Bigsby and Warren can absolutely be super relevant this year, even with ETN and Najee healthy. But of course, if they're not healthy, those guys are RB1s. So, but the question is, like I said, if something happens to Mixon or Pierce early on, then that could get a little sketchy. But waiver wire trades, whatever. Love your wide receivers, though. Great wide receiver room. So, I mean, you're probably starting Tua and Njoku, Mixon, Pierce, JJ Olave, flexing Lockett, probably flexing Deontay, but you have Flowers and Romeo Dobbs to move in there too. So, ultimately, I think a good draft for sure. I like what you put together tonight, man. All right. Anthony, what's up, dude? And Pete, you can feel free to interrupt me at any point, or else I'll just go autopilot.
Go.
Watson and Love, I can handle that. Ingram and Dulcich is fine. Jones, Madison, Sanders. So 3 running backs.
I love his first 3 picks. I absolutely love his first 3 picks.
Chase, Smith, Higgins, beautiful. QJ is a good value in the 9th. Rice, Ross, someone's going to catch passes for the Chiefs. Why not take a risk? Great defense, great kicker. A little early for those guys, but whatever. The only thing I'll say, Anthony, is obviously just 3 running backs. I probably sacrifice drafting Greg Dulcich and just get whoever you think is best. Roschon, Mostart, Algier, Gainwell, Foreman, any of those guys. A 4th running back would have helped you a lot. So going into the season, I would say that's the biggest thing you need to take a look at. But when you're starting Deshaun and Ingram, Jones and Madison, Chase Smith, flexing Higgins, flexing Sanders, but Quentin Johnston and maybe Rice or Ross will move in there as well.
I mean, if Watson is good, this is a winning team right here. Like this team really hinges on what Deshaun Watson we're gonna see. Because best kicker, a top 3 defense probably. Your wide receivers are god tier. Your first, I mean, I love Quentin Johnston too. As your 4th wide out. It's running backs will suffice if they're healthy. They'll get you your points, your receivers carry. It's like if Deshaun Watson is a top 7 quarterback, this is a very scary team.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. Like you're building a foundation for the year, waivers, trades. Both these first 2 teams look just fine. See you soon. What's up, man? All right, we got T-Law and Goff. This is a heavy quarterback draft. Komet and Laporta, I think you got for late round tight ends. You smashed that value out of the park. Bijan Gibbs, a little risk with 2 rookies, but I love that risk right there. Kamara, Dobbins, Javonte. So good running back room. Ridley, Tony Cooks, J-Mo. So your biggest problem is your wide receivers. You have an incredible amount of risk at wide receiver. And I like Ridley a lot, but when you're pairing him with Kadarius Toney, Brandon Cooks, and J-Mo, there is a ton of risk. And this is a full PPR format with 2 flexes. You can flex a running back. You can flex 2 running backs, but I prefer wide receivers in the flex. Toney, injury prone. Cooks is just a veteran. We don't really know what we're going to get. It's probably going to be okay, but and then J-Mo is going to miss the first 6 games and is, like having attitude issues and dropping balls and has a messed up hamstring. So could pay off, but
other than that,
other than that, he was fantastic in college and caught a touchdown last year, So, he can go straight to your IR. Actually, no, this format doesn't allow suspended players on IR, but I don't know if he has an injury designation on Sleeper. But anyways, you have to get some wide receiver depth immediately going into the season. That's your biggest thing. I mean, everything else is fine. Chiefs defense, Jason Myers, great quarterback, great running backs. You're going to have some room to wiggle with that running back if you need to make a trade. I do like Ridley as a wide receiver 1. And I think he's going to be just fine. But the argument can easily come up that he hasn't played football in however long. And, Tony Cook's J-Mo behind him is a little worrisome. But everything else looks good, man. All righty, Dom. What's up, dude? Mahomes, say no more. Kelsey, man. Excuse me, not Kelsey. Geez. I got the Chiefs on my head. Freiermuth in the 10th. I should have gone Freiermuth in the 10th. So I know we're not looking at my team. That's my biggest regret of this draft.
The only regret pick right there.
Yeah. Great value for you, though, man. Happy he came to you. C-Mac, Brian Robinson, Zeke, Singletary. So true hero running back build. And I actually like the value on Brian Robinson. And honestly, where you got Zeke and Singletary, they're fine. But then the question becomes, should you have replaced one of these wide receivers with another running back? Let's see. Waddle, Watson, Allen, Godwin, Williams, Elijah Moore, Van Jefferson. I mean, your wide receivers are great. But, Mike Williams was a phenomenal value, I think, in the 7th. And there's no way you would have known you were going to get him there. But yeah, as much as I like the Chargers next year, we talked about them tonight. Keenan Allen or Mike Williams replaced with a running back would have done a lot for you.
That's one where you would have liked to see, instead of Godwin, go Sanders or Javonte, I think.
That's fair too.
And then you could have scooped up Mike Williams on the back end.
Yeah.
Just to cover Keenan Allen there. But
I
mean, Mahomes and McCaffrey and Waddle, there you go.
Yeah. I mean, and let's, at the end of the day, like Brian Robinson's an okay RB2, but we know it's a committee at the end of the day. But if something happens to Gibson, very likely. If something happens to Ramondre, if something happens to Dameon Pierce, all the last 3 running backs you drafted are in committees. So, well, I don't want to say committees, but they're all handcuffs. So wide receivers look great, and I'm not going to knock you for having really good wide receiver depth. So, but that's just the only question. Other than that, I mean, his team actually looks really good, especially Brian Robinson has like a top, even just a top 20 season. Gets you a good enough floor. But Carlson, the Ravens defense, I like those picks. So you're starting Mahomes and Freiermuth, C-Mac and Brian Robinson, Waddle and Watson. You're probably flexing Keenan Allen and Chris Godwin, but Mike Williams and Elijah Moore certainly could be in there too. Then you got Zeke, Jefferson, Singletary on the bench. So, I mean, I like this team, but it's a true hero RB build for sure. All right, heavy CMC. How are you doing, man? All right, we got Allen and Danny Dimes. I like it. Kelsey and Kincaid. Okay. So usually if I get Kelsey, I'm not like spending any more draft capital on tight end, but I like the Kincaid pick. Some upside there. You can always flex them. JT in the 2nd, Hall in the 4th, Cook in the 5th, Herbert in the 7th, Roschon in the 13th. So you got the Jets and the Bears backfield locked up. No wide receiver till the 6th. Pickens, Davis, Hyatt, Mingo, Graham Gano, and the Giants defense. If you guys don't know, heavy CMC is a Giants fan. It's an interesting team. Once again, the wide receiver value is what worries me. Because right now you're starting Allen, Kelsey, presumably JT, presumably Breece Hall.
Cook. I don't think Breece Hall's going to go until the first few weeks here.
That's fine. Yeah, Cook, we
could just plug in Jets RB. Jets RB will start
Jets
for him.
RB. But then like you're starting Pickens, and Gabe Davis is your wide receiver too. And he is a pure flex boomer bust option. Hyatt and Mingo, I mean, like, yeah, maybe you hit on those guys and they step in as wide receiver ones in their rookie season, but there's just a lot of risk here at wide receiver. Now you have the upside at quarterback and tight end, and I guess you could argue running back, but wide receiver.
Kelsey kind of covers your wide receiver 1 there because he's essentially a wide receiver 1 with his production. I mean, Hyatt could be that dude, but it's not going to be till like week 8, week 9. So if you can survive the start, I think the biggest thing with this is going to be survive the start of the season. And then, Breece Hall gets back into the full mix of things. Maybe one of these wide receivers emerges as a true wide receiver 1/2 guy. Maybe Gabe Davis turns into, who knows what the Bills offense is going to look like. I don't know what the Bills are going to look like on offense.
I mean, I don't mind drafting Gabe Davis, but I don't like him as a wide receiver 2. He's a flex guy. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, CMC is going to go get his guys. This is what he does. So I'll trust the process here. All right.
Look at this draft.
Oh, I'm skipping my team.
Oh, boo.
I do my team last. All right. Let's see what we got here. Prescott and Andrews. I'm good at that. Eckler, Pacheco, Penny, Harris, Mostart, Adams, Debo, Hollywood, D-Hop, Beckham, Thielen. Yeah, that's a good team. Younghoe Koo, Dolphins defense. So we're starting Prescott and Andrews, Eckler and Pacheco, Adams and Debo, Hollywood and D-Hop. Yeah. I think this team looks actually pretty good in terms of the core roster. There's not a ton. There's like, I don't know, something about Adams, Debo, Hopkins.
It
should Hopkins, be fantastic.
Hopkins is a huge question mark. Matthew Berry loves DeAndre Hopkins this year.
Huh.
like I said, I think Tennessee might slip into a black hole of nothingness. Hollywood, he's the number one wide receiver with Colt McCoy. So lots of targets. I do. Austin Eckler is GOAT tier. So I'm always going to love a guy who drafts Eckler.
Penny, Beckham, Harris, Thielen, most starts a good bench.
I just kind of hate Dak Prescott. I'm going to be honest. I hate Dak Prescott for fantasy purposes. I mean, he doesn't run anymore, and he turns the ball over too much.
Fair. Yeah, I mean, I think this is a pretty grounded team. You know, nothing putting you over the top, but nothing putting you below the average. I think this team, and in redraft, that could be really valuable if you hit on the right waiver guys, even make the right, one or two trades. So I like this team, but we'll see what happens. All right, 1.8. Herbie fully loaded and T-Hawk. I mean, you're good there. Henry, Connor, Jamal, Devontae Shane, Eli Mitchell. Pretty good running back room. Cup, Cooper, Ayuk, Evans, Lazard, Boyd. I like the wide receivers. Pat's defense, and Dicker the kicker. Yeah, once again, a solid team. I mean, starting Herbert and Hawk.
Hawk feels like a big risk. There's a whole contract thing going on with him that I don't love. That
I like him. Like, at the 5.8, it's okay. Sometimes he's going like in the 4th round. I'm not quite there. But like you kind of alluded to earlier, like if you don't get Kelsey or Andrews at the right value, for me, I'm just punting tight end. The point
Hawk just hasn't he hasn't practiced most of the training camp. He wants to be the highest paid tight end like ever and reset the market. Like, he's good, but he's not that guy. Sure. I don't know. And Minnesota's like super high on their backup tight ends. Like, Oliver, they just signed from Baltimore. They're super high on. He's like 6'11" or whatever. I think he's really like 6'7". And they're going to use him as a blocker and catcher. And then Johnny Munt is the best third tight end, according to KOC, in the history of the NFL. So I don't know. Hawk just gives me the ick, and that's my team from a personal standpoint. But if Cup is Cup, I love, the first 4 picks here with Cooper. Because I think Amari Cooper is slept on way too much.
Oh, for sure. Wide receiver 10 last year. But yeah, I mean, Herbert, Hawkinson, Henry, Connor, Cup, Cooper, Ayuk in the flex, Evans in the flex. Yeah, this team could be really good. Jamal, Devontae Shane, Lazard, Mitchell, Boyd is a good bench. So I like this team. Number 1 defense from last year. Dicker the kicker should have a big year. So I like it. All right, Johnny Edwards. Let's see what we did here. Fields, dangerous. Pitts and Schultz. I don't think you really needed to draft Russell Wilson. You spent very high draft capital to go out and secure your quarterback in Fields, which I'm not against. Earliest I've seen Fields in a draft, but I'm not against it. But yeah, I don't think you need Russ. If you're worried about the injuries, maybe, he's a little banged up last year or whatever, you just wait till like your final pick and you just pick the best available guy. If it's Goff or Purdy or Love, like I don't think you need to go Russ right there. But Pitts and Schultz is okay, I guess. Walker, Swift, Dillon, Deuce Vaughn. Like, once again, like that's the thing that can happen if you go double quarterback and double tight end. Can lose a little bit of depth somewhere, and he lost a little bit at both running back and wide receiver. But your wide receivers look really good. Lamb, Wilson, JSN, Sutton, Mooney. I'm okay at the wide receiver room. But my biggest thing is I think instead of going with Russ, like he could have gone Devontae Shane or Jerick McKinnon, even Bigsby or, Zeke or Damian Harris. Like, I think you go for a little bit of upside, maybe go Devontae Shane or McKinnon there. And you may have gotten Russ in the 11th or 12th if you really wanted that backup quarterback to be Russ. But good defense, good kicker. Once again, I think this team can be okay. I think you got pretty good value. Like Walker, Swift, and Dillon were fine. Good enough wide receivers. So you're starting Fields and Pitts, Walker and Swift, Lamb and Wilson, flexing JSN and Sutton, but Dillon and Mooney can move in there too. So, it's a good core roster for sure. So we'll see what happens. That'd be my biggest note is Russ wasn't probably necessary to this build. But all right, Speezy. Woo. This league had a lot of people who just have like really unique draft styles. And I'm used to their draft styles, but Speezy comes out the gate with 4 running backs. So Chubb, Jacobs, Stevenson, ETN, and then he gets Gainwell in the 14th. Obviously, running backs are great. Goes Richardson in the 7th, early for A-Rich, but went out and got his guy. Gets Geno. So I think that's a situation that's okay to go double quarterback because you have a huge question mark in Richardson. But Waller and Conquo, decent tight ends. But then Kirk, Pittman, Bateman, Moore, all those guys are fine where you got them. But 4 wide receivers makes me a little queasy. So somewhere in here, I want more. Like I don't draft the Niners defense in the 9th, for example. Like even if it's Juju or Burks or Beckham, I mean, just anybody right there. I don't go Money Mac in the 11th. Like, even Thielen or Rashid Rice, like just somebody at the position. Like in this type of build, I'm going defense and kicker last for sure. But like the way you're looking at this team probably is you're starting Geno, starting Waller, starting Kirk and Pittman, then you're starting Chubb, Jacob, Stevenson, and ETN. Like you're flexing 2 running backs. So it's a different style of build where running back isn't as important in comparison to wide receiver in this strategy. So
I just imagine this team like lining up in the like wing T offense with these running backs and Richardson at quarterback. This would be a really fun real football team with Darren Waller at tight end. I would really want to see this team run like a wing T offense, and we're gonna run the ball 70 times and maybe throw to Waller 3 times in the red zone. But I think the upside on Richardson is really high. I think he could be a fantasy home run this year on a bad team. And he just gets 1 million rushing yards.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate the pick. I do think he would have been available a little bit later. But once again, like Speezy's good at fantasy. Like there are some of you guys in our leagues in the community who like you guys just do your thing. And I don't really underestimate you. It's not how I would conduct my draft, but I'm not going to underestimate Speezy because I've played with him before. So we'll see how it works out. I think this is definitely a team you're flexing 2 running backs, so for sure. So yeah, this would be a crazy Madden team, that's for sure. All right, Diddy, what's up, man? Burrow and Rodgers, I think that's okay with the whole calf strain thing going on. It's an okay build for 2 quarterbacks. Kittle, that's fine. Najee Akers, Rashad White. I like the value where you got those guys. Foreman and CH, whatever. Diggs, St. Brown, Judy, Thomas, Burks. Not my favorite guys in those ranges. Like I'd probably go Pittman or even Evans over Judy. I'm not a Judy guy. I just don't. The injuries to Michael Thomas and Burks kind of worry me right now. But at least you have Diggs and St. Brown. You have 2 really consistent guys as your wide receiver 1 and 2. So maybe a little bit of risk and upside's okay for you. But you're presumably starting Burrow and Kittle, Najee and Akers, Diggs and St. Brown. Your flex is kind of up in the air. You're probably going to have Rashad White and Judy in there. But it's kind of hard to say at the moment with Judy's injury. And Thomas and Burks could be in there as well and maybe pay off for you. So I'm not going to knock you. Eagles defense, Bucker, you're good there. So, yeah, decent enough team. A little bit of question mark at the flex, but core roster looks pretty good. Burrow, Kittle, Najee, Akers, Diggs, and St. Brown. And I do love Rashad White. You guys know that. So, yeah, looks pretty decent.
Oh, God.
All right, here's the one we've been waiting for. All right, Pete, what we do, man? Lamar, you backed him up with Kirk just in case. A little bit worried. Just in case. Security blanket.
Just in case.
Barkley, Cook, Pirine, Algier. So you basically go hero running back. I thought Cook was a good value for you. And I think Pirine's fine where he took him. I actually really like where you got Algier. So for kind of neglecting running back, I think you did actually okay. Like really what your build's going to become is you're just rotating that RB2 throughout the year. And Cook,
that's how I like to play too.
Yeah. And Cook could be like a league winner guy for you. So I think that was a big pick for you. AJ Brown, Metcalf, McLaurin, Addison, Juju, Jones. I mean, I think you got good value at wide receiver. There are guys I like more than McLaurin, but I can't really knock McLaurin. I just think like you get more upside out of Kirk. I'm really big on Ayuk, but I still think McLaurin is fine right there. Just my personal take. I like where you got Addison a lot, and I think Juju was actually the best receiver when he took him because he's the number one option in that offense, whether you like it or not. I'm fine with Metcalf in the third. AJ Brown is I actually really like right there. You know, I really like Amon-Ra, really like Garrett Wilson, but I still think AJ Brown is there. You had to take him, and I think yeah.
I just go with like I know the Eagles are going to be good. I
Yeah.
know for a fact the Eagles are going to be good. I hate picking from this spot. Like this is my least favorite spot to be picking from. I hate picking at 12-12. I hate picking at 1 also. Like I hate
like
picking
the
at
112.
Yeah, I hate the 112 and I hate the 1-1. I'm very much a 6 to 5 guy where I like to slide in there because I'm a big believer on having that one guy. If you can pick the right guy in the first round that just like he wins you games, and it's about winning games. Now, if we're playing on like the tournament format, like you got to win the league, but when it comes down to it, like you got to score points to win the whole thing. So that you don't necessarily need the home run guy, but you got to win football games. And I'm a big believer in, we could need that guy, 4th down, we got to get the ball to him. This team is growing on me the more I look at it. I didn't love my draft. But it's growing on me the more I look at it. If Lamar has the season that kind of people are hyping on, I think I can live with, Lamar just having a monster MVP type season. And then
and I mean, you got a good tight end in Goddard. Good defense, good kicker. I like your team actually. I mean, ultimately you're starting Lamar and Goddard, Barkley and Cook, AJ Brown, Metcalf, flexing McLaurin, flexing Addison if you feel like Addison needs a couple weeks to get, adjusted or whatever. Juju is probably going to give you a good enough floor. So that would leave Juju or Addison, Pirine, Algier, and Jones on the bench with Cousins. So, I think a good foundation. Yeah, I don't have a big problem with this team. I think it's a pretty grounded team. So don't beat yourself up. We'll see what happens, though.
All right, let's do the what everyone came here for.
All right. I actually really like this draft, except I do wish I went Freiermuth in the 10th over McKinnon.
You're gonna kill yourself over that pick, I think. That's the only one. Just gonna eat you up at night when Freiermuth is that guy this year. But I love your first 3 to 4. I know you're higher on DJ more than I am, but if he is as good, I love your first 3 picks. Absolutely love them.
I was pretty happy with this draft. And like if Higbee and Musgrave get me like top 10-ish range, or I just fight like the thing with tight ends is like really like someone's gonna emerge on the waiver wire, but like only 2 or 3 true options are gonna emerge throughout the year. You just have to hit those guys if they come. So tight ends my biggest question.
As long as it's not a liability, right? If you're getting 5 to 8 points a week or whatever, if you're sitting in that 12 to 11 range, like it's not a big deal because I feel like you're going to overperform at wide receiver and probably at running back and quarterback. You'll overperform.
Yeah, so I went hero running back tonight. I also drafted a quarterback early. 2 things I haven't done so far in any of the actual drafts. So Hurts, Higbee, or Hurts Musgrave, Pollard and Monty, Hill, DJ Moore, flexing London, flexing Dotson, and then I have Gibson, Charbs, McKinnon, Sky Moore, Tank Dell on the bench. I'm gonna have to drop someone and get a kicker, so I'll figure that out later. I love the Hawks defense. I really like this team actually, but I usually would just draft 4 running backs. Yeah, because even if I look at it this way, if I went Freiermuth in the 10th, I still get Sky Moore in the 11th. Then in the 12th, like I mean, you had a ton of handcuffs: Warren, Roshan, Gainwell, Mostert, Algier. So I still could have got a handcuff, but McKinnon brings way more upside. Like I think for going hero running back, I actually got a lot of really good value at running back later on.
Yeah, you have like 4 running backs that could end up taking over a starting job here and replace, and you already have like RB, you have your hero running back, and then any one of these guys could easily slide into, oh, they're a starting running back and get a lot of touches. And you could have 2 of them and your flex is totally set on top of it if a receiver gets nicked up.
Yeah, I'm happy with this team actually, especially for going running back in the second and quarterback in the third. So yeah, I'll just leave it at that. I'm happy with this squad tonight. So I'll take it. We'll see what happens. League 4, congrats. Thank you guys for a great draft. Let's go ahead. We'll finish out the chat here. Jim, JSN and DK stack good, or Deontay and DK better? I like to diversify a little bit. I might go Deontay and DK. Klondike, thank you. What's up, Warrior Loft? Good to see you. Dom says, fair enough, because I wanted McKinnon. Man, why don't we just swap? Let's just do a trade. 1 for
Vito.
1.
What? Yeah. What? Vito? Oh, excuse me.
C Slave. Help my dad with his draft today. Got JJ, CD. Oh, what? St. Brown, JSN, Brees Hall, Ramondre, Jamal, Charbs, Kincaid, and Laporta and Fields. Yeah, man, you killed it. I mean, come on. You got Fields, JJ, CD, Ramondre, and Hall. Then you're flexing St. Brown, for crying out loud. Yeah, I mean, rookie tight ends can be a big risk, but at least you have upside there. And you're probably flexing JSN. I mean, you killed it, bro. Come on. Warrior Loft, someone dropped JSN. Would you drop Mingo for JSN? Absolutely, I would. 100%. Mingo has upside, but yeah, JSN for sure, even with the injury. Tommy, I will try to find a way to post all the teams, or at least I can post all the drafts to Discord. Edward says, haha, because that's when we were going over his team. Appreciate you, Marco. Good luck to you as well. Andrea, good night. Top 3 drafted teams. Ooh. You guys always ask this, and I've like gone over all the teams, and it's like completely goes out of my head. That's a tough question. Actually, this was a lot of different strategies tonight, and a lot of really good teams. I really like Dom's team for a hero running back build. As long as that RB2 spot works out, this team could be really scary. I think Richard had a really good team just because his wide receivers are really stacked. Anthony had a pretty good team as long as he can get some running back. I don't know, like just about every team I really liked for different reasons. It's tough. Really tough. We'll go with my team. I'm just kidding.
I agree. I'm
just kidding.
I definitely think your team is one of them.
Yeah, it's just hard. A lot of different strategies against the board. I do think 1.8 could be really good too. But it's just tough. I actually really do like Pete's team. It's a tough ranking.
I don't. Hey, I'm projected as the 3rd highest score for week 1, so that's good news right there.
Go.
I'm feeling better about my team.
Tommy says, don't drop Tank Dell. I don't want to, actually. I want some back-end wide receiver depth. Who'd you take if you didn't go Pollard there? Probably Devonta Smith. I was very close to going Devonta Smith regardless, just because I wanted a team with him, and I haven't had any draft positions where he falls, and I don't have a problem reaching for him. He's your wide receiver 9 last year. He's going to be great this year. Pairing him with Hill just felt kind of lethal, but I like Pollard right there. If Pollard wasn't there, I would have not gone running back. There's no one I would have taken that early. If I had gone running back, it would have been the 3rd. But yeah, I'd say Devonta Smith. Waddle's fine there. Ridley's fine too, but I was going to reach for Smith. Tony or Collins? I mean, it doesn't really matter. Like, who do you like more, Tebow? I probably Tony because he's still tied to the better offense, but Collins could be a wide receiver 1. So pray. Higbee, Kamara, Lazard, Mooney, Robinson. Get out of here, Prey. I hate you. Which league of 4 seem the most competitive? I mean, every league is going to be super competitive. It very hard to tell. Every league is even par with one another. You guys all know what you're doing, and every league's definitely going to be super competitive. So hard to tell for sure. And there are a lot of good teams across the board. Oh, this is a real trade, Prey. Okay. You have a history of messing with me. Higbee, Kamara, Lazard, Mooney for Robinson for Adams. I mean, it just depends. Like, this is just not a realistic trade because then the other team's going to have to drop 4 players. It's just not. How are they going to drop 4 starters? You know, even
Hold up, yeah, they're going to drop 2 of those guys or whatever, and you can just go scoop them up with a big cut. So it's essentially whatever.
Yeah, it's a fair trade, sure. I mean, you're getting a starting tight end, a Kamara, a flex guy, and Lazard, a flex guy, and Mooney, and a starting running back, essentially a committee running back at worst. Like it for Adams, it's still a fair trade, but I wouldn't do a trade of this nature. That might even be a trade where I step in because it's just like, who's the other team going to drop? Because they're all going to be guys you got drafted, and just like, yeah, I don't know. Let's go, Tommy. Pray, I got a similar one for Saquon. I wouldn't. I would keep Saquon and Adams personally. Emil, stop your scheming over there. All right, guys. So we've been streaming for almost 2 hours.
That went fast.
Sorry, I was reading something. It did go fast. It does not feel like we've been on the stream for that long. But we'll go ahead and wrap it up. There's all your team reviews. Draft is complete. Pete, thank you for being here tonight.
I appreciate it, as always.
We'll be having Pete on the channel here and there throughout this season as well. Friday nights or something like that. So look forward to more Pete. And so, yeah, you guys know what to do. Make sure you guys hit the like on the way out. If you guys are new and you tuned in tonight, thank you for being here. Make sure you guys subscribe. Check out our links down below. Discord, Instagram, all that stuff. Pete's channel is pinned at the top of the chat for you guys. Make sure you guys go drop Pete a sub as well. And that's going to wrap it up. So league number 4, congrats to you guys. Thank you so much for drafting. And thank you guys for all being here tonight. I was a little bit worried, but everyone was here and everyone drafted. So thank you guys. And great draft overall. You guys killed it. So that'll wrap it up. Everyone be safe. Have a great rest of your Saturday. Have a great start to your Sunday. And that'll wrap it up. So, Pete, if you want to say anything, sign off, and then I'll wrap up.
I just appreciate you having me on. It was a lot of fun. I was nervous for the big boy, big show here. I think it was just fun talking ball, obviously, and it went by so fast. It was nice, having the opportunity to do this. And yeah, like you said, check out my channel, After the Review Sports. We cover like daily sports news updates, stuff, getting into football season all the next few weeks here. I'm going to be breaking down every division, picking every single game every single week, and that'll give you my records for the season. So should be a lot of fun. Love doing it. Also got a gambling show coming out every Friday, starting this Friday, where me and my buddy go through, pick a couple of games for the weekend that you want to sprinkle a little cheddar on, make a couple extra bucks possibly. So check that out. So yeah, great to have you. Hopefully I'm back more this season. It was a lot of fun.
Sure, man. Yeah, and thanks for being in the league and drafting with us. So, all right, ladies and gents, that'll wrap it up. So you guys know what to do, man. Do all the YouTube stuff. And I should be back on tomorrow. And guys, we're like less than 2 weeks away from NFL kickoff. So let's go. It's draft season. It's fantasy season. It's football season. So we had college football today. I mean, let's go, guys. So, all right. You guys know what it is. Love you guys, man. Love this community. Love the Catch fam. talk to you guys soon. And with that, I will say thank you guys so much for watching and or listening. And remember, you saw it here on The Catch. And peace.